Heartbreak is one thing, my ego is another. I am begging you, don't embarrass me, Jonathan Huberdeau.
You're Locked On Flames, your daily podcast on the Calgary Flames. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Locked On Flames, or welcome to Locked On Flames if you're tuning in for the first time. As always, I am your host, Jess Belmosto, and thank you so much for joining me today. Today's episode is brought to you by GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Today, we are going to be continuing the Summer Improvement Series, which kicked off yesterday with Matt Coronado, and we're jumping right into it with Jonathan Huberdeau today. We're going to talk about his first 2 years in Calgary, what needs improvement, and what lies ahead of us here in Calgary with the $10.5 million man. Make sure you are subscribed to Locked On Flames wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube. We are here for you Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, your team every day. So excited to be here daily with y'all through the month of July, because there's still a lot of Flames things to talk about. There's a whole lot to unpack ahead of this season, and why don't we start with some basics with Jonathan Huberdeau. Okay, so we know that it's been far from impressive, his performance. We know that he had the biggest point drop-off in NHL history from 115 to 55. So that's a whole lot of offense you're missing there. We all knew that he wasn't really going to be the 115-point player again. We kind of expected him to be around the 80, 85-point mark. And when you don't hit that, and it's almost, half that, it's tough. It is a tough look. The expectations for this team, like the 2022-23 Flames, were a lot different than what they are right now. And even last season, the team was still expected to be a playoff team. They had lost Gaudreau and Tkachuk, but they still had decent goaltending and Markstrom. So they thought, bringing in guys like Huberdeau and Weegar were going to be big. And unfortunately, it didn't play out that way. Obviously, they missed the playoffs by like 2 points. It wasn't anything that the team shouldn't have made the playoffs at all. But, this is Jonathan Huberdeau's inaugural year in Calgary. And it stunk. There's no other way to put it. And it wasn't a good environment. We can talk about it until we're all blue in the face. We know that Sutter and Huberdeau did not get along for whatever reason. There was already a rift pretty early on when Sutter told the media that Huberdeau had to go to the bathroom when really he was being worked on the medical table, and it was a joke, but it was seen as more of a passive aggressive, like you're playing like crap, so I'm going to tell them you're taking a crap sort of thing. Alan Walsh, who is Huberdeau's agent, didn't shy away from chiming in on Twitter, which is always a fun time. But he had that nagging injury. He was not getting along with the coach. He was playing on his off wing. He was not set up to succeed, as many had expected. And what's in the past is in the past. We cannot rewrite that season. We cannot rewrite how Huberdeau signed this contract. We can't do any of that. But you have to accept that Huberdeau is never going to be a 100-point player again. We'll be lucky. He should be at around 70, 75 points. And we did not see that again this year. He had 52 points in 81 games. It's not great at all. you're making $10.5 million a season, and you went almost an entire month without a point. I know we talked about streakiness yesterday with Matt Coronado and even like correlating it back to Tkachuk too, but like a whole month, that's a very tough look. That is bad. But then once he scored that point, I think it was an assist, or it might have been, I think it was an assist, on a goal against Philly on New Year's Eve. He pretty much went on like a point per game streak for a little bit, which was so nice because that allowed him to kind of, put some more points in his point total. It was not a good time. And we're going to talk more about like his production and just the amount of overthinking that went into his play this year and just how bad it was. Coming up here next on Locked On Flames. But it was a tough season, okay? Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It was tough. And he's talked to the media a little bit and has mentioned how hard it's been watching his friends lift the Stanley Cup in Florida. And now Ryan Lomberg is in the locker room, who just won a Stanley Cup, obviously. And like, it's not salt in the wounds. Like, that's not the right word, but like, could have been you, but it wasn't. And you just kind of have to cope with it. But I do, Huberdeau is someone that is very well-spoken, poised. And I think people need to give him a little bit of grace. I'm not saying it needs to be extended through all 82 games. You're playing like not great, but he knows what's going on. He's not stupid. He is very self-aware of the situation that is him in Calgary. But coming up next, we are going to take that quick break and talk all about the overthinking and what is going on and how things might be impacting him. But first, we're going to take a quick break here. And I want to talk to you about eBay Motors, passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts, for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available for U.S. customers. Thanks, everyone, for making Locked On Flames part of your day. Make sure you're following me on Twitter at Jess Belmosto. Jonathan Huberdeau, was such an excellent player, right? He flew under the radar because he had spent his entire career in Florida, and Florida wasn't good for a large chunk of that time. And, to see them start to reap the rewards of that towards end of his career or end of his time there, it probably felt good and okay, we're going to do something. I'm going to be part of this for a long time. He obviously isn't, and was traded. And Matthew Tkachuk got to be thrown into success while Huberdeau started kind of back where he was in a team situation when he signed his contract. with Calgary, or with Florida, but now he was with Calgary. So, that's got to be a little, I don't know what the right word is. I guess a little heartbreaking, because you are hoping that all your years of hard work, all your years of loyalty will pay off, and it just didn't. And that's unfortunately what happens in this game. I think of Steven Stamkos. Obviously, he won the 2 cups, but that was your captain, and you let him walk. But back to Jonathan Huberdeau here. We used to see the crispest, the cleanest, the most jaw-dropping passes from Jonathan Huberdeau. And I remember always saying, man, I'd love to have a guy like him on this team. So, set up some really good plays. Where did he go? Where did he go? Most of his passes do get intercepted, and that's tough. And that's got to be a confidence killer, your self-doubt, do I need to shoot this, or should I pass? Just that internal battle, and you don't always have time to think. You have to what makes a good hockey player is the ability to make a decision in a matter of a split second that changes the game or saves the game. There were so many times this season, I can think of 2 or 3 off the top of my head, where the net was wide open. Huberdeau had the puck on his stick, and he passed it. It was the perfect scoring opportunity, and he passed it. That's killer. And mind you, that pass didn't make it into the goal. That is a confidence killer. You aren't thinking the right way or fast enough, or you're not, your hockey instincts aren't taking over there. Your reflexes, your muscle memory, none of that is happening. And you're taking too long, so then players can read what's going on, or they already know you're not going to shoot, so they go and, break up the play and do whatever, right? And that's not good. That is not fun. That's not rewarding. He has to find a way to get out of his own head. There were, the first 5 to 10 games of the season last year where it was like the whole team was walking on eggshells, because they knew if they made a mistake, it was going to spiral into many other mistakes. And guess what? They made mistakes, and that happened. But then they got more comfortable. They eased into it, and they played a little bit looser. Jonathan Huberdeau was walking on eggshells just about the entire season. If you play like you can't allow yourself to make a mistake, guess what you're going to do? You're going to make mistakes. And it just stinks, because you want to root for this guy. He has done nothing wrong. He put that pen to paper, and he did it. There was no hey, there was no inclination that this drop off was going to happen. There was no way of knowing that this was going to happen. And hindsight's 2020. This is just another Brad Treliving situation. One that the Flames are going to be living with for a very long time, but it's there. And, I'm hoping that heading into this 3rd season, things kind of smooth out, and we're able to iron out the kinks and get back up there to that 75-85 point range. However, that's not going to happen without a lot of work and mental preparation, because it is so evident that he is in his head overthinking. not thinking quick enough and just doubting himself. We talked a lot about self-confidence and just having confidence in your game yesterday with Matt Coronado, but there's a difference there, right? Because Matt Coronado does not have true pro experience under his belt. He has one season. It's about building that up and to be an NHL player. Huberdeau has to build up that go dig deep and find that confidence again, and find it within him to break these bad habits and to break this cycle of whatever's going on. And it's not all on him, of course. Players around him. Elias Lindholm was not a good center for him last year. Sharon Govich and him started, building chemistry towards the end there, there was still time left in the season, but it took some time. And Anthony Mantha's coming in, and I would assume things are gonna, they're gonna play together. Craig Conroy said that that's why they brought Mantha in, to help Jonathan Huberdeau. And I'm confused here, because have they ever played together before? Or is their literal only connection them both being French Canadian? Because they're around the same age, so they might have played together in their younger years, but I have not seen anything that connects them to each other than them being French Canadian. So I'm just wondering if it's going to be like having, like a piece of home there, like he has with Pelletier, like that kind of like French connection sort of thing. I don't know. I'm not going to rule anything out, but I'm also not expecting a lot. And we're going to talk more about that coming up next, because we need to tame our expectations here with Jonathan Huberdeau. But first, we are going to take a quick break here, and I want to talk to you about an app that gets an absolute workout from me and my household during the summer, and that would be GameTime. I love going to baseball games in the summer. It is like the American pastime. You go, you get good tickets, you get good seats, you buy your hot dog and your water, and you enjoy the game. I am so excited to go down to Yankee Stadium and enjoy a game, and I will be taking advantage of GameTime, because they are an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the GameTime app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch, with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. GameTime takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. I haven't decided what game I'm going to go to yet, but when I do, I will be taking advantage of that view from your seat option, because I have never been to Yankee Stadium. I want to make sure I'm sitting with the best optimal view, and I know GameTime will help me find that. Save up to 60% off buying last-minute tickets for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. Save even more when you choose a section and let GameTime choose the seats. Take the guesswork out of buying Major League Baseball tickets with GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON NHL for $20 off. Download GameTime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Thanks everyone for hanging out with me today on Locked On Flames. Make sure you're following me on Twitter at Jess Belmosto. I think we all know that Huberdeau is going to be under the microscope for everything. Even when he posted a picture of him and his girlfriend dressing up for a Halloween party, people were like, maybe you should be focused more on hockey. It's like, well, the whole team is doing this Halloween party. Why don't you talk to it's uncalled for. There are times where, of course, players should be under that microscope. And Huberdeau has earned that. He has earned that, but it should be for his on-ice performance. He has talked about extenuating circumstances being the reason for his slow start in Calgary his first year, and even parts of last year. What we know for certain here is that the relationship with Darryl Sutter was not good. It was not good. And it was a very tough year to get acclimated because you were not set up for success by playing on your off wing that you've never played on your entire career. You were dealing with, I believe it was a back hip injury. So you're not right. You're not right. And then there's also the altitude change. I didn't even factor this in until I heard Blake Coleman mention it in an interview, and how it took him a few seasons to get truly acclimated and adjusted to living with a solid quality of life with the altitude change. And that's not an excuse. It's just the truth. I don't think Huberdeau is ever going to meet people's expectations. Not because he is a poor performer, but because there are unreasonable expectations from people. He did not meet my expectations this year. I expected a 75 point season. Did not get that. Got 52, which is less than his first year. So, of course, and it's not looking good if he continues to trend downward. By his last season in Calgary, he's going to put up like 3 points. It's not sustainable. We all know the style of hockey Calgary plays is different from what Florida played when he was there. He is not like hockey players, like you just can't up and drop them somewhere and like they're going to find success. Look at Gaudreau and how he has struggled a little bit with the Blue Jackets. And you can say, well, there's like no talent around him. Where's the talent around Huberdeau? Like that star quality, upper echelon talent. It's not there. There are no true elite players on the Calgary Flames. It's that simple. And it stinks because they had two. They had two and then they left. And now, Craig Conroy's here picking up the pieces, the mess that was made, and Huberdeau's coming in to, take over for the guy he tied 115 points with that season. It's going to be fine. Like, there shouldn't be too much of a regression. There was. And it has triggered a rebuild. That's not all on Huberdeau. This has been a long time coming, and I don't think it was going to be possible for the Flames to put it off anymore. If they didn't have that Huberdeau contract, who knows what this roster would look like? Could we be looking at, bottom 5 team? I don't know. Who else would have been signed? If you signed Gaudreau, it's a whole different ball game there. But I don't know. I don't know what you're looking at had this trade not happened or had the extension not been signed. It is going to drive everyone crazy if they try to sit here and pick this what if that, what if this, that's going to drive someone crazy. And you don't need to do that to yourself. What if Huberdeau goes out there and does well this season? Doesn't have to be 100 points, but what if he finally hits that 75, point minimum that we're all looking for, that expectation that's there? What if he does that? That's great. Will he be able to do it the next season? I don't know. Anything better than 52 and 55 is good in my books. As long as it's 10 points more. But I do not expect Jonathan Huberdeau to come in here and be, a star right out of the gate and be like a force to be reckoned with. Not because I don't believe in him, because I do, but because of the current roster construction and how he has played these last 2 seasons. You can't make something happen. Like, you can't turn water into wine in this situation. No matter, like, you could try. It's not happening. So what do you expect? You hope that him and Mantha play well together. You hope that he stays healthy and he's able to give you something, makes it exciting to watch. I mean, this team's rebuilding now. They're not supposed to be excellent at hockey. It's a transition period. This is what it is. And you just have to suck it up and deal with it and hope for the best. I don't think that it's going to be like abysmal hockey, but it's not going to be that super fun, energized hockey that you saw 3 seasons ago. And you can't live in the past. You have to focus on what's happening now, and you hope that integrating some of these younger players will do the lineup some good and get them to the point where you're able to play Huberdeau lower in the lineup in the next couple years, because $10.5 million on your fourth line doesn't look too good. So this is it. I hope Huberdeau is able to work through this mental block and find that pizzazz that we know he has in his passing abilities. I hope he's able to read situations better, and I hope his teammates are able to read situations better as well. And just keep your fingers crossed. Manage those expectations. But that will do it for me today on Locked On Flames. I hope you all have a fantastic evening and enjoy the rest of your week. Tomorrow I will be back, more than likely talking about Nazem Kadri in this same summer improvement series. But until then, stay safe, stay warm, stay dry, stay cool, stay hydrated, and remember to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, as well as YouTube.